and I need to figure out how to give it to her, and She peered up at him. I need it too, Maverick. He grasped her hand. So I'll help. But for how long? She blurted. He frowned like he was trying to make sense of her question, and then her fears poured out of her. How long until you wreck, or some club business goes bad and you get hurt, or you don't want me because— Don't want you? Where the hell did that come from? He asked, anger flashing in his eyes. Grief was like a lead blanket wrapped around her shoulders, heavy and suffocating. And it hadn't escaped her notice that he hadn't addressed her fears about staying safe, because he couldn't. Maverick, losing Tyler was the last thing I ever imagined happening. I can't handle anything else. I need certainty right now. Permanence. Security. Forever. She needed forever. Once she'd hoped Maverick would want it too, with her someday. But now what he did and who he was scared her, especially standing there at Tyler's grave. And you don't think I can give that to you? He asked, anger sharpening the angles of his ruggedly handsome face. Can you? She whispered. The silence that had followed had been her answer. So Alexa had made her choices long ago. Yes, you do. You know exactly why I'm here. Maverick stalked toward her, his big body bearing down on hers in a way that set her heart to racing. With a gentleness that seemed impossible, given his size and all his rough edges, he grasped her chin and turned her face so that the side that had been bruised was toward him. You came to me. He nailed her with a stare. Hugging herself, she pulled her chin free from the heat of his fingers. I'm sorry I bothered you last week. I shouldn't have gone to the clubhouse. She'd just been so shocked by the fight with Grant and his words and his storming out that she hadn't known what else to do. Going to her mother's would have just made things worse, and she felt too out of touch with all of her old friends to go to any of them, not to mention too embarrassed. She'd felt so alone. She still wasn't sure why she'd driven out to the Raven Riders' compound on the edge of Frederick. Once there, she'd worried she'd unnecessarily complicated her life a whole lot by mixing the past with her present and future. The longer she'd stayed at the clubhouse, the more certain she'd been that Grant really was done with her. Scared that she'd ruined everything, she'd left without explaining what had happened to her, but not before Maverick had seen her face. Now, him standing on the front porch of the house she shared with Grant? That was all kinds of complicated. If you think coming to me was a bother, maybe you never knew me at all, he said, the muscle in his jaw clenching. He stepped away, his gaze fierce. His words set off a pang in her chest. She did know him. His protectiveness, his possessiveness, his goodness, despite his club not being totally above board. Although, from what she understood, their less-than-legal activities funded the Ravens' quiet mission to defend those who couldn't defend themselves. Wait, was that why she'd gone out there? The question was like a sucker punch to the gut. Alexa wasn't someone who couldn't defend herself. She wasn't in an abusive relationship like the women the Ravens helped. It had only been that one time, and Grant had apologized over and over again, and she'd been the one who tripped after all. Maybe I didn't, she said, her voice not much more than a whisper as the thoughts settled uncomfortably deep inside her. Fine. Have it your way, he said, his voice like gravel. Just when she thought he would leave, he stepped up to her front door and pulled something from his back pocket. What are you doing? She asked, moving to his side. Letting you back into your house. He worked a silver tool that looked like a pocket knife at the door handle. Are you picking my lock? She watched in fascination as he quickly manipulated the tools and turned the knob, opening her front door. I'm letting you back into your house.